It is October, and for me that means that it is health screening time. I gotta go get blood, get some blood work done, and that appointment is at 11 o'clock. So I have to do a 10-hour fast, and I also got a workout in the morning, big shoulder workout on top of a 10-hour fast. In celebration of my last meal, I'm about to jump in the kitchen, make me a delicious beef chili, and I'll grub that up right before I go to bed. I got all of my ingredients up here, a little bit of a nice spread, get myself nice and set up. What I like to do is to put my spices in one bowl and just pour them all into the meat. For starters, I have 3 pounds of turkey, and what I do is 2 pounds of dark meat, 1 pound of white meat. I have 1 chopped onion, 3 chopped bell peppers. I like the colorful ones because they're kind of sweet, so they kind of cater to my taste. I have a can of pinto beans and a can of black beans, 2 cans or 30 ounces of tomato sauce. I use minced garlic instead of chopping my own. You get it in the container like this and save you a heap of time. Cayenne pepper, cumin, garlic powder, salt, and for that Louisiana flair, I always add a little slap in my skillet heated up in a minute. Yeah, let's get to it. What I like to do is I like to put all of my seasonings into one bowl so I can pour it into the meat and the vegetables as they cook. So I'm gonna do it that way and do all my measurements, show you how I get it done. Cumin.
Put it on it.
Chili powder.
Put it on y'all, Joy.
Oops, making a mess right out the gate. Cayenne pepper. Himalayan salt. Stir those up. Look at that mix. Yeah, look at that mix right there. So we set this to the side, and now we take it to the stove. I like to do 1 heap of garlic for each pound of turkey. So we got 3 pounds of turkey, so there's gonna be 3 heaps of garlic. When I say heap, I mean a heap. We're gonna let that start to heat up. Take the wrapping off this turkey while we wait. You hear that? That's the sound of good cooking right there. We're letting the garlic season the meat. We're gonna cook it until it's completely done. Then we'll add the vegetables. After that, we'll add the seasoning. I like to use the blend of white meat and dark meat ground turkey because it gives it a good balance. Too much dark meat makes it a little bit loose. You add a little white meat to it and it gives it just the right density that I like to have in my chili. Add the onions. And the bell peppers. Now we'll mix these into the meat so the vegetables can cook evenly. So we'll let the vegetables cook until the onions are clear. Once we get to that point, then we're ready to add our seasoning. The vegetables are starting to look nice and clear. Now it's time to add our seasoning. What we do is we kind of feather this in here and we mix it and we start to get our chili color, you know, that red look that everybody likes to have in their chili. We'll let that cook for a little bit and then we'll transition to our big pot. Now that we have the chili transferred to the pot, we'll add our cans of beans and make sure that these are drained and rinsed. So we apply our beans. It's a can of black beans, a can of pinto beans. You get all those beans out of there. And we add our tomato sauce. We'll turn the heat down a little bit and we'll stir this in just to add a little liquid to the mixture because otherwise your meat will start to burn. Stir careful because you do not want to bust up your beans. You want your beans to be whole. We'll let this cook for a while. Come back and check on it in a minute. Now, in addition to everything I've done so far, I also like to add a little bit of this right here, Cajun delicacy right here. If you can read that, this is Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning straight from Ville Platte, Louisiana. And you have to be real careful when you add this because if you overdo it, you're gonna make it too salty. I guess I've learned how to do it over a time of experience, messing up chilies, under seasoning chilies. So what I've learned is when you put it on, you feather enough right over the top to where it kind of floats on the water, where you can see the seasoning. You don't want to do too much more than that. So what I'm doing is letting it float on the water a little bit. And once we get to that point, we just mix that in there. I mean, that seasoning is real strong, so you got to be real careful with how you add it. You don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, it's going to be too salty, maybe a little bit too hot. You may mess it up for your non-Cajun friends. Here's another tip I've learned. Chili, usually let it sit overnight, and the seasonings in it intensify. So when you do your taste test, you want to keep it a little bit bland. If you keep it bland, taste it a day later, the seasonings are stronger. So if you season it to taste to where it's nice and just right at this point, tomorrow it's going to taste super salty. So keep it bland on the first night that you cook it, because the next day it's going to be just right. Taste for that strategy. Don't overdo it with the seasoning. Just under just right, and let the seasonings kind of take their course tonight as the chili sits. I'll leave this chili out overnight. It's going to be too hot to put in the fridge, but once I get up in the morning, do my workout, I'll make sure I put it in the refrigerator, put it in a different container, and have my chili ready to eat for the next 2 or 3 days. It is great on a cold day. You'll love it.
Hey, baby.
That is the best sound. You can see your beans in there. The vegetables are broken down really good. You can barely see those. They kind of blend in real well. Now we're going to turn the temperature down a little bit. There we go. Let's check this out. Look at this.
Make a wish.
See that? And made with ground turkey. No beef. Yeah. So it's a lot leaner, but you still get that chili bang. Got me a little wild rice. I will dig in to this beach chili with my little bootleg scooper. You see that? Hopefully I can get this over to the bowl without making a mess. And bam. You know what? I'm fasting tonight, so I'm trying to make it last forever. All right. Time for the taste test. As you can see, I put a little mozzarella cheese on mine. Give me an extra little fat boost to get me through this fast. Let's get our taste test in. Oh yeah.
Thank you, God.
Just right. Whew. Let me clear my throat. Clear my throat. Thank you guys for joining tonight's cooking session. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like the video. If you're new to the page, please subscribe to the page. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave those below. If you have any ideas that you want us to share on future videos, be sure to leave comments about those as well. Signing off from the Hustle Grizzle Kitchen, this is Dimitri. Peace out.